And we're back, snipping it off, snipping it forwards. I never did figure out what that.
Snipping it forward sounds. I mean, it's accurate.
Yeah.
It's gross.
Snippet Forward is my favorite documentary on Pay It Forward.
Yeah, it was. It's my favorite Kevin Spacey and what's that kid's name?
I don't know. He probably forgot it too.
Hayden Christensen. Got it.
We don't like to talk about Kevin Spacey and kids, okay?
Oh yeah. Anime.
Kevin Spacey is my favorite anime character.
Yeah, that 3-episode guest stint he did on Cory in the House was really. That's a joke that people still make, right? Right.
I can't say what I want to say, so I'm ready to start.
Garo.
Garo.
Garo, no. This was a bad episode.
See, I wouldn't even call this a bad episode because
it's a bad episode.
I wouldn't call it a bad episode because
what would you call it?
A mediocre episode, because at the very least it does do a lot of things. It does a lot of things competently, but it also is demanding too much out of said competency. It thinks that it's like, okay, it thinks that we're supposed to care about Russell City. Russell City has never felt like a real place. I'm sorry. Like, even as an American, you'd think, oh, you know, this is American. Like, it's got American styles, landmarks.
What's more American than Chinese food?
You're not wrong. Like, I was like, oh, cool. So Russell City has its own little Chinatown. And I'm like, that's kind of neat. But, yeah, again, Russell City never felt like a real place to me. So the idea of this mourning over this destruction, when it was a single character that we'd actually come to like and actually had connection with other characters, that hit. Here,
hey, can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
Is Luke's dad supposed to be Discount Vicious? Because I literally can't tell.
I think so. I think, yes, it's supposed to be his actual real-life bio dad.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
because his character design is close enough, but he's Discount Vicious has these big old sideburns that his dad didn't have.
He's setting up for something,
and he says, "No, I'm not. I'm actually confused on this plot point."
Yeah, no.
To be fair, he says, "Oh, you're Luke." Like, shouldn't he know that?
No, actually, no, because it is implied that they haven't seen each other since that night.
I mean, I guess, but Chibi Luke just looks like Luke, but Chibi, whereas his dad looks like his skin tone's different in the flashbacks. He's real white, whereas Discount Vicious has darker skin.
Well, with all that power.
Actually, like, if we were to go back to it, I don't think he's actually there. The skin tone is that much different. I'd have to go back and watch, but no, that's definitely his dad there. At least I'm pretty sure it is, because it's the Silver Knight. I mean, that's him, right?
It's his dad, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that was supposed to be his father.
Also, like, I was thinking about that too. It was like, well, that can't be his dad, right? Because he's like, so you're Luke. But looking back at that, that's kind of shitty. It's kind of a shitty thing. Like, oh yeah, you're my kid. That's cool.
I mean, they're both all about power at any cost. This book. This is.
Oh yeah, a book.
Oh yeah, the stuff in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you love the book.
Man, it's. I don't like pinging things for being vague about plot points that obviously are going to be talked more about later. But it's like,
though?
Well,
we are in episode 10 and we still don't know shit about this world or the rules. Or they talked last episode about, oh, we're sending them out west. This is a wild area that we gave up on. Mm-hmm. Who's we? Is that whoever's giving the Mackay Knights their orders, which we still don't know shit about that?
Yeah.
Is that
the country at large?
Yeah.
Like it's really not.
Yeah. Like they erase people's memories to cover up the horrors. Mm. Why? Why do they do that?
Men in Black.
Why can't this just be public knowledge?
Men in Black.
I would care so much more about the city if it was just public knowledge that sometimes people become horrors and that's just a part of this world, instead of trying to make it like the real world, except it's not, because this isn't New York City, but it totally is.
You know, making it in New York City would have been the better move. This whole Russell City stuff, like, it's trying to have its cake and eat it too, of having a world that, this isn't actually a real place, but trying to make it feel like a real place. And it's very difficult to do that. You either go whole hog of this is not a real, not a real world, so real world logic does not always apply, or you make it fucking New York and you actually play to the strengths of that. But no.
Yeah, you've got to either set it in the real world or else actually world build, and that's something that this series has consistently failed to do.
Like the last episode didn't. Last episode felt like, they're out Midwest. Or not the Midwest, they're out I felt that. I liked that. I liked the last episode.
Yeah, we all did.
Yeah. That's why I'm still fucking this one, but if this just fails again next week, which I saw the preview. Oh boy. Unless that preview is very misleading, because let me tell you, it looks like a prime example of a filler episode, which this show doesn't need. This does not need filler, not now.
This show spent too long being episodic when it feels like at this point we really should have started this plot thread at episode 3.
Yeah.
And we didn't. So it's hard to care about any of this. It's really hard to get invested in this. I understand conceptually. I think it's really cool going, okay, let's reflect on the ramifications of what happened. This was a crazy big. Any other show would just make this the cool battle and move on, But this is trying to do something unique, and for that I appreciate it.
Yeah,
but I don't
that too.
care about anybody. So that only goes so far. Were this any other show that wanted to actually take its breath and stride and, ruminate on the repercussions of stuff that's happened, but I just don't fucking care. So
yeah, and I think the failure to make Russell City feel like a real place has always come down to its presentation of it.
Yeah.
The public spaces are always so limited in their animation and their art that, again, it's always just looked so cheap to me.
Looks drab.
Yeah.
Everything looks the same. They could be at the same street every time.
I'm pretty sure I see more people on the street in Juni Taisen.
Well, yeah, but most of those are dead zombos. So just like the characters in Garo. Ha ha! I made a joke.
But yeah, so at the end of the day, I'm still gonna give it a chance, but
yeah, I voted kill this episode despite I'm real happy that King's Game died instead, but I had to make my peace with the fact that by voting kill on this, it might have been the one to die, and I would have been fine with that.
Yeah, this is not one I look forward to watching. It is the last thing I watch in my rotation. Every time I'm always like, oh yeah, Garo.
Oh, see, I'm the opposite. I watch it first to get it out of the way.
Okay. I watch Inuyashiki first, so maybe I ruined myself.
Yeah. See, I
oh God, why would you do that?
Because everything else is so much happier.
Oh man.
yeah, no, that's fair.
The last thing I would watch is Inuyashiki at the end.
Yeah, that would leave a taste in your mouth.
Yeah, I watch Inuyashiki and then go, let's watch Magus afterward. Let's watch MMO
let's
Junkie.
watch something happy
exactly.
and
That's why I watch it
uplifting.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of Inuyashiki, it is the next on the list, so we can just get right into that. Guys, the U.S. is going to take care of this asteroid. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that Armageddon, I'm pretty sure that was an Armageddon reference. Armageddon was big in Japan.
The kid mentioned, if not this episode, the first earlier one, he says, is this Deep Impact?
Yeah, he calls out Deep Impact by name.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, this mangaka's so good. He knows when to put these references in that makes it a kid would totally say that, and also a good joke.
Yeah, it never feels forced. It never feels like, hey, fellow kids.
No, it never feels like the hey, fellow kids, ever.
The mom dropping the Rambo reference.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, he took out 85 people. Is he fucking Rambo? Of course somebody would say that. I don't know. I just...
So there was one... there was one big part of this episode, and I'm trying to remember what it was that I wanted to talk about. So... What was with Hiro and Shion, was it?
Oh, the dream sequence?
Yeah, what happened there? I'm also confused. Was it a memory? Did he appear in front of her?
I think it's, if not a dream sequence, then an imagine. I don't think that conversation literally happened.
I don't think so either.
Like it's got this like glitching around it that I think is there to show that this is something that he's imagining, and I loved that. It was like a signal breaking up or something that just shows how disconnected he is.
Yes.
Like he has been, for a couple of episodes now, he has only been communicating with other people through a screen.
Yeah.
And I think that's very intentional. He is, like, physically, he is up on this building. He's, like, formed a little webcam in the palm of his hand to point down at himself. Like, that's how, when he shows up on, the big screens in Shinjuku, like, that is where that video feed is coming from.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I loved it.
I love the symbolism going on here with just how... you mentioned the screen, just how detached and removed he is from everything, and that like dream sequence was the only hint of motive or like humanity that's just kind of fucking gone that we had left to him. The only reason he's doing this is, I guess I like see his logic of, okay, I'm going to be an enemy in this country. As long as there are cops, they will be hunting me, so we can't hang out in peace. I must kill all the cops. Because of course I can do that. So why not? Like it's so easy for me. Like why wouldn't I do that?
Yeah, and I think, and this is one of those totally open to interpretation things, but the reason I think that it's something that he's imagining is because he's like trying somehow to come to terms with, like, no, this doesn't have a happy ending for me. I am too far gone. Like, this is him trying to imagine a better future. Like, once I'm done with this, then Shion and I, we're going to move to Hawaii. But he knows that's never going to happen. Even in his imagining, she's like, no.
Yeah, I think that has much more weight if you take it that way, as this was imagined, because that carries a lot more meaning to me.
Yeah, but because he can never have that happy ending, like, then, I don't know, why not murder everybody? It's all I have left.
Yeah.
He was going to murder everyone anyway, it seemed.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but there have been, these little hints of him trying to find some connection, something to tie him back to humanity.
Yeah.
And then it just, always entirely through his own actions and his own doing.
Yeah.
But it's what adds this pathos and tragedy to this character, who is a total monster.
Yeah. And it's not a tragedy for him necessarily. It's a tragedy for the entire, like, scope around, everything he's involved with. This all could have gone so differently if at any point the world had left him alone.
Well, there was never a reason for the world to leave him alone. No. He's always been a monster, so it's not, this poor misunderstood... Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, it's not a tragedy for him. He deserves to be killed. He deserves execution. There's no argument.
Advocate for death penalty over here.
In circumstances of people who can literally put holes in you with their finger, yeah.
Yeah, the U.S. got it.
See, I don't like to pass moral judgments on people, even people as monstrous as Hero. I don't know what he deserves. I just want the killing to stop.
Yeah.
And so, like, if he could have found some equilibrium, if he could have found a way to just take Shion and go and live in anonymity someplace.
Which he could have. Like, I don't see how that would be too hard for him. It just seems like something, it feels like the easiest solution for him is the menacing one. Instead of, like, trying to masquerade everything and go on, like, he clearly set up his mom incognito, but, again, he got pursued, but you could leave the country, go to a fucking island, clearly there's something he could do, but the easiest solution is get rid of the problem, not bypass it. He just fucking tries to eliminate it right there, and it's...
But, I mean, at this point, everybody knows his face.
Yeah, there's nothing he can do now.
Yeah, there is no happy ending where he moves to Hawaii where nobody knows him. Nope. That option is gone.
That is such, like, he's so detached from reality if he actually truly ever believed that was an option.
You know what I got inklings of anytime anybody, myself included, plays an open world sandbox video game. I got vibes of that. Oh, cool. What can I do? I'm playing, fucking Saints Row, and now I can fly around and do all this crazy shit. Of course, I'm killing thousands of people and toppling planes, and why the fuck not?
Oh, so you're saying that video games turns people into murderers?
Absolutely. Okay. I'm saying that it is the cause of Hero.
Okay.
Finally, we get to the root of it.
I see this as a very poignant critique on a lot of things going on socially. Just when he mentions there's this nice deliberate moment where he's on the rooftop just looking at everything and going, I hate this country. And I just feel like this is just that mangaka reflecting on, okay, because I totally buy it. There are absolutely people like this. Why would they think this way? They fucking hate their country. They hate everything around them, and they don't care what happens. They really don't. And
it's an interesting.
What can you do?
We haven't talked about nihilism lately in terms of what the show is about. And yeah, he is nihilism incarnate if you think about it. Which, yeah, that plays very well. I love talking about nihilism in media because it can be done very poorly, or when it's done well, it begs a lot of questions, and I like that. And here we see that on full display, especially with you have a character like Inuyashiki, where he's I wouldn't say he's the opposite, but he's got I remember we talked about this early on, where he's got a very even the small things matter to him intensely. So yeah, oh God, I love this show so much. I can't believe that we're getting close to the end. We've got 2 more episodes, and it has been so difficult, let me tell you, not to read the manga.
I have the first volume sitting in my bedroom right now, nice. So that as soon as we are done with this, I can pick it right up.
Yeah, that's probably going to be my thing too. Yeah. What you mentioned about nihilism, I think it's interesting what he's talking about here. It seems that the author here seems to think that nihilism is a very toxic idea, which is actually counterintuitive, counter to a lot of other things this year that have been talking about nihilism in a positive way. Specifically, I'm thinking of Nier, and something else recently that also talked about it, and I can't remember. But because a lot of people are talking about, as we get more interconnected and as we see just death is everywhere. As social media happens, every death is now that much more in our faces, right? And the easiest way for some people to deal with it is the optimistic nihilism, that none of this matters, but I will make it matter. Yep. And I like that worldview. I like it a lot. This is the opposite side of that coin, where nothing matters, I'm going to make it matter in this way. Well, how is he wrong? And nihilism doesn't have an answer for that, which is, I think, really interesting.
I've heard it said that nihilism is, paradoxically, it is ultimately an optimistic worldview, because the desire to see everything destroyed is also the hope that someone can build something better from the ashes.
Ooh, okay.
I don't think that's the brand of nihilism that Hero is all about, because while he might think there's gotta be something better, like Hawaii, that's gonna be this paradise that I could escape to, but that if he actually went to Hawaii or Paris or any of these places, they've got to be better than this, right? No, he would get there, and you can't run from yourself, man.
Yeah, totally. I really, just something really jives with me about this theme, because really it is I've always kind of had that problem with when people mention nihilism as their worldview, which I've dabbled a lot within it too recently.
It's hard not to.
Yeah, it's really hard not to, because it ultimately can lead to that, okay, if none of this matters and what makes me happy or feel anything is murdering people, from your worldview, I should do that. And that's a very, I haven't seen that I haven't seen a rebuttal for that. And if there is one, I haven't heard a really poignant one that can really defend it. But really, I think this show is trying to push for the hope, the optimism that no, something is there. There is a redemption. There's a redemptive quality to hope, and having the idea that something bigger than you is out there, like Inuyashiki feels.
I actually had a really bad string a couple of years ago, actually, because there was a part of me that finally sat down with myself and talked about altruism. And it was a very difficult road for me to go down because it occurred to me that altruism is not a real thing at its most basic point, because every single thing that we do, our actions dictate. Our actions are dictated through a want to make something better for us at the end of the road. There's no such thing as altruism, because say I wanted to, like, hey, I'll buy you lunch. Oh, well, that's just me being nice. I'm buying my friend lunch. But why am I buying you lunch? Because I want you to be okay. Because I like you and you do something for me. You make me happy. So your well-being is also my well-being.
Yeah.
I came back to that over and over again. I could not find a road where it did not come back to something that I wanted. And that killed me. That is the most painful thing to come face to face with. The idea that no matter what, everything that I do is biologically wired to serve me in some manner. Otherwise, why would I do it? Even the things where I'm like, oh, I'll just do this random goodwill thing. Like, no, I did that because I'm trying to make something better because I want it to be better.
Yeah.
That's hard to run from. That's hard to get away from. But somebody told me, look, you deal with the world as it is. You deal with the reality of it, and then you make something out of it. You make the world that you want to see. Just because it's all self-serving doesn't mean you can't have the best, most optimistic outlook on it of, you know what? Yeah, it's for me. But if I make people happy, that's good anyways, and that's good.
I think the optimistic flip side to that point of view is how hopeful a thought is it that we are wired to care for each other at a deep level? That it helps us to help others.
And that is a very good point, by the way. And listen to that point. Anybody in the audience who ever thought, well, what does it matter? No. We are wired as social animals. It doesn't matter who or what you are, black, gay, Jewish, white. It doesn't
even women.
Male or female, or any of the things in between. And what matters is that we are all in this together, and that's important. A lot of people forget that our entire social structure was built off of this unity of human beings. And God help me, Pokemon the movie actually made a poignant point about this, which I've always come back to.
I know exactly where. Yeah, no, it's a good one.
And it's amazing because when I was a kid, this stuck with me. This stupid line, which was, it's not about our differences. It's about the things that connect us, the things we share in kind that matter.
Thank you, Herman Cain.
And God, that's carried throughout my life in every facet.
Yeah, I ultimately think that is Inuyashiki's philosophy too. I think it is we don't know the ending yet, but I am assuming that our protagonist will prevail. Call that presumptive, but I'm assuming that by some crazy means he will best hero or neutralize him or something so that the killing stops. And why is he doing that? In service of everyone else, not because. And like he also deals with finding like value in himself, and I think he finds that value in seeing it from other people. And that's not like super healthy. I've dealt with that a lot too, like trying to get validation from other people. But he is ultimately doing something because it does make him feel good for doing that. And you know what? Good. There's a reason people like that exist.
Yeah.
Well,
good show.
Speaking of nihilism and death for no reason and things that make us hate ourselves, King's Game.
I don't.
Yeah.
What do you even say about this stupid episode?
It's so fucking boring, dude. I almost fell asleep.
Masatoshi?
Who?
The guy who falls into the water?
If you say so.
Yeah. Like.
Oh, yeah.
Although, I'm going to tune into the next episode because there's one plot point I want to see pan out.
What?
Okay, and I can't remember. Remember that girl, when Masatoshi gets thrown down the stairs, a girl, waits there with him?
With the ponytail?
Did she stay there, or did she go with them? Can you remember?
She went with them. She did not stay there.
Ah, damn.
Yeah, he was unconscious, and everybody said fucked off and left because he's the only one that walks back when it's Protag and the other girl.
I was hoping that's because when he woke up and realized what happened, he had like kneecapped her or something.
Oh, that he did? No, I think she left.
Damn.
No, that would have been much more interesting for King's Game.
Yeah, see, because I'm okay with people being shitty to each other in this show if the reveals are good. Like that reveal when she's like, I blocked the
Yeah, I blocked the
king."
number. That was okay,
I'm like,
fine.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
What a good move. What an actual smart move by this character in this series of nothing but stupid moves.
My girlfriend called something which I am curious to see if it pans out.
Okay.
Protag Kun gives what's-her-face with all the broken fingers a piggyback ride. Will that count as transportation? Will she die because she cheated in the foot race?
Oh, shit.
I didn't even think of that, and you know what? I bet that's what's going to happen.
Oh, man, I'm watching the next episode because
Here's
I
the
need
thing.
to know that
Here's the
stupid
thing,
shit
friends.
pans out.
I'm watching this whole series anyway. I've come this far. I've almost finished the world's slowest foot race. I'm like 2 dicks away from the finish line. Okay, I gotta cross it.
Well,
I love that measurement.
Yeah, because they could be stubs or they could be schlongs.
well, if you guys wind up watching the next episode, you can let us know next time whether that prediction came
Oh,
true.
don't worry.
But,
Yeah, I will be our correspondent out in the line of fire.
And
Yeah,
don't worry, I'll probably chime in with you too. Like, by the way, back in King's Game,
Yeah. Of course, you you said that with Juni Taisen. I'm totally going to keep watching that. How much more Juni Taisen have you watched?
every episode since.
Oh, did you actually?
I actually like. By the way, quick moment for what happened in Juni Taisen.
Yeah, sure.
Literally nothing. Okay. No,
All right, go.
actually, some stuff happened. We got the rest of the Snake and Dragon Brothers. Didn't care about them.
Yeah.
Bunny, in a cool scene, has okay. So we know the dragon can fly.
Sure.
like the animation and art always sucked for it. And do we need to do the thing? Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
We'll be back with Juni Taisen after these messages.
Juni Taisen.
Juni Taisen.
Taisen it up.
Yeah, so I don't think I've watched the latest episode, however, but the last things that were covered was, so Bunny has Monkey take Snake's head and toss it in the air in a really cool looking scene, where he's trying to get close to Dragon, who's up in the air. Rabbit can, and this is kind of a funny scene where he jumps all the way up to Dragon, who's so far up, the city lights are all like mapped out. He's that high up, and as he's about to kill Dragon, he's like, "Rabbits can jump over the moon," and then slices him in half. And this, like, when this show does its visuals right, it's a really cool scene. And then it's a bunch of just tiger and ox fighting body parts, and they're really, really stupidly well animated, but there's no setup for it. Then there's a bunch of stuff with Taurus past with Ox, and apparently they knew each other, but he forgot about her, and she was mad about that. And then at the end, he ends up killing her because if she dies to the rabbit, she'll become a zombie. And the show was boring, and it was bad, and I'm really sad about that. Like, I'm really,
It's a bad, boring
really,
show.
Yeah, I'm
Sounds
really,
like a lot of anime.
yeah. So that was the Juni Taisen break.
Well, you know what's not boring or bad?
What?
MMO Junkie. It's
Yo,
real good.
it's real good.
Oh my god.
Oh, so good.
Never a dull moment.
Yeah.
Guys, I take notes while I'm watching so
Yeah.
that I'll if there's a line that seems like it's important, I'll make sure to remember it correctly. I watched this episode and then I looked at my notes and realized, oh shit, I didn't write anything down because I've been entranced just watching.
Good.
Like he's got an all caps squee.
I will say that the first act of the episode got a little frustrating because it was just kind of a retread of, no, I get it. You're awkward and you apologize a lot. Can we move on to, can you kiss already? And they don't. At the end, they hold hands, but there is no final big kiss. And actually, I think that was the best possible way to end it.
Oh,
I think so too.
Absolutely. Any kind of kiss for a show like this would have been really. It would have been either really awkward in a really funny good way. Like, I would have actually been totally over the awkward kiss, or it would have been, nah, I don't believe it.
No, with these two characters, I would not believe them kissing so soon. Like, I just wouldn't buy it.
Yeah, well, and as bad as I wanted it, like the whole time they were in the apartment, I think the way that they did end it, which is not them alone together in the apartment, it is the two of them going out on a date in public, holding hands, that public show of affection. That's the hurdle that they have to overcome. Yes. Being alone together is not their problem.
Yeah, I had that a few times where I was like, oh shit, I'm in public and I'm embarrassed. Maybe, I don't know.
I remember if I were writing down notes, I even told myself, like, I wish I was writing down notes because I'm pretty sure my note here would be, this entire episode is just two dorks being total dorks.
Yes.
The entire thing.
It's really fucking relatable.
Yeah. Oh my God, it is though.
I also really liked how they didn't shy away from, the show didn't shy away from the fact that there is a physical sexual attraction between the two of them.
I know, yes, I love that.
What did I tell you about the sweater? I told you all
Hot
the
as
sweater
hell,
was
man.
too cute.
No, dude, no, I'm girls in sweaters.
Yeah.
That's my aesthetic.
But it also didn't fetishize it.
No,
it was just
yeah.
very real, these two want to have sex with each other.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what human people do.
Yeah, it was no over the top, like, and when I'm describing this, if you haven't watched the show, there's no over the top fan service of, like, there's nothing crazy. It's just kind of like a pan down to the boob area, and of course, because he's a dude.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting because I don't mind sexuality in my shows, but I think it needs to be in a place where it's like, yes, this is a sexy show. Here's some fan service, and I'm okay with that. I really am. This show kind of seemed like if you put sexuality in here, it seems like antithetical to what the entire tone is. So when there was a shower scene, I'm like, all right, you did it right up until now. What are you gonna do? And it's very sterile.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't shy away from the fact that she's naked in his house, but that's the point. She's naked in his house.
Yeah, and that's oh shit.
It doesn't make her into an object for the audience to ogle at. It is that shower scene is from her perspective. It is dealing with her feelings and her reactions.
Yeah, there's no viewer. You're not the observer here. No voyeur.
Yeah, and with the scene, with the sweater.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. He is a guy, so he's probably going to look down there, but it never lingers too long, and it's never too detailed. It's implication over actual explicit, just, oh, they're her boobs.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I was like, I felt the sexual tension there, instead of just being told, it's sex!
Yeah. Yeah. If I want anime titties, I have a bunch of hentai on my hard drive. I can get anime titties. That's not what this show is.
Yeah, I have that factory subscription for a few reasons.
I also got to admit, Sakurai's, yes, got me. I was like,
yeah, I loved that.
And that awkward moment where she doesn't understand that he's staring. She doesn't understand, like, why is he looking at me? Is there something wrong? And he's just like, I'm gonna fucking die if I don't get some of this.
And geez, just that last scene where they're out there, Koi Wise had his little moment with them, he's left them alone, and they're standing, there's this big picture window on the building next to them, and you see their characters reflected, and then the characters go and walk off.
It's so precious.
And they're still that's over here.
Yep.
But now let's
move on.
Let's us go over here, and Sakurai takes her hand just for, that little moment, and then she pulls away, and then he just squeezes twice as tight, and it could have ended right there, and it would have been awesome, but instead it then pulls out from that tight shot of their hands and shows him holding her hand tight, but just like, oh my God, what am I doing? What am I doing? And that was the perfect way to leave it, they're still awkward, but they're moving past that together.
Into a brave new world.
It's so good.
Because I remember that shot where, she slips because she's not used to heels. And it's a great setup for him to like, oh, I got you. And he's holding her hand. And they don't even think about it.
Yep.
Until like, oh, okay, we'll stop doing that. And in character, Sakurai makes the first move, which is good. Like I think it's good. It makes sense that Sakurai would do this, but he's not like, oh yeah, no, let's do this. He is just like he just a hair more than she did had the balls to do this. So they're both just like, all right, we're gonna walk together. Yep, we are.
If he had suddenly turned into Prince Charming and had been super comfortable and slick, then it would have been dishonest and I wouldn't have liked it.
Yeah, I think this author knew exactly what they were doing. This is clearly written from a place of understanding, and I love seeing this depicted. It's and I understand, like, I have some problems with anime depicting the anime fans nowadays, but man, you know what? This was fucking relatable, and I really enjoyed it. So fuck all that shit. It was great.
The noises I made in this episode.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I don't get. You rarely get physical reactions from me in comedy, in action. Like I sit back and I watch. Maybe you'll get a from me, like a quick exhale from my nose. No, this show got a physical response from me, and the noise I made at the hand-holding scene was inhuman.
It's really, really cute. And it's only 10 episodes. If you guys have not seen it, do yourselves a favor. It's really fun. You're watching this, you can relate to it.
Yeah, seriously. Just surprise of the season for me.
Totally. I was ready to hate this. So this is, oh good, more anime drivel about anime fans. I don't fucking care. Not at all what this is.
We're looking at the same move.
I know, right? The line, like, if I haven't said that before, because man, if you've had any long distance relationship ever, you'll get this.
Yeah, and they're long distance from, like, I don't know, 2 blocks apart. It seems
exactly.
Like.
Yeah,
But that makes it even more like it really is the same moon.
Yeah.
Like it's this like we have our online life, but we really do have a connection in real life. It is tangible. It is there.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I'm sorry. It's weird. It's such a small line. It's such a cliche line.
It is, but
it's so effectively used there.
Yeah, it's great. I loved it. Good show. Great show.
Excellent show.
Yeah.
I don't even know what else to say, so we should probably talk about Ancient Magus Bride.
Let's do it.
So, this one is difficult for me to unpack. I think I needed to watch it a second time.
Yeah, it does a lot with so much subtlety. I really like that Elias is by himself, and there is this scene where he is just sitting in his chair. Chise's gone. Silky's still there with him, but he says, the house seems so quiet, even though she never makes a lot of noise. Like, I think it is super valuable to see Elias missing her.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, he doesn't move from that spot. Mm-hmm. And it's so interesting, and it's... Because, again, the episode likes to pan back between them. You don't spend a whole lot of time with Elias, but that scene, and it's very important, that scene where she leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh, yeah.
She looks down at him, waiting for something more. Mm-hmm. And when she's talking with, I can't remember his name, the dude she meets in the Land of the Dragons.
Lyndall.
When she meets Lyndall, he talks about the fact that, like, oh, you're trying not to, I can't remember the exact line where he's talking about her personality, and she's like, oh, yeah, I try not to need much from other people, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, I don't think that's true. No, it was like, you don't ask, like, she's like, I don't ask a lot of questions because I don't need to know them. Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, I don't think that's true.
Oh,
I don't think you don't. I don't think you don't need to know them. I think you really want to, and it's getting worse as time goes on.
Yeah, she says, she gives, the same speech that she always gives, like, I had nobody and he took me in and yada yada, and she says, I want to be complacent.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was
it. Yeah, I think
and you're absolutely right. She doesn't want to be complacent. She's afraid to pull that thread because she's afraid everything will fall apart.
Because how terrifying would it be for her to finally have a home and then to find out that this is not a place I want to be?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like, this is not a man I want to be around. That would be terrifying. That would be really scary. And that's one of the cool things about this. And I was actually talking to one of my friends about it. He's like, I'm not sure I can get past the whole complacent slavery thing. And I'm like, it is not a part of the show you're supposed to be endeared towards.
Yep.
It's a conflict. Like it is a way to set this story, but it's also conflict between these two characters that is introduced by the secondary main character.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting, and it is. I'm glad that the show has gone steps to be like, no, you're not supposed to be okay with it, and neither are they.
Yeah, and I all of us, I feel like I repeat this, and I'm so happy it is a conflict, because we were worried about it, this coming up, and everybody was like, what are you fucking talking about? Yeah, it's there.
Yeah. It's and as of this episode, it is no longer subtext, it is full-on text, and I love that.
Yes, I love that too.
By the way, can we just talk about how much I love bird phones?
I love those too.
Bird phones are amazing.
I love when they're fighting over it and the bird's freaking out.
It's like the snails from One Piece.
Yeah.
But magical and kind of better.
I like it a lot.
But I also like getting back to Elias and Chise. I like that from Elias' perspective. They do so much with his design, with just where in his eye sockets those little lights are, and I think subtle changes in the shape of his eye holes. They make little subtle changes to his expression, and here he looks sad and maybe a little, I don't know, conflicted, confused. He seems real conflicted about the fact that Chise has relationships other than him, has people who care about her other than him. And he said, I basically chose somebody who had to be dependent on me. And there's a couple ways he could go now that she is becoming less dependent.
Yeah.
That could be the beginning of a healthier relationship, or sometimes when that happens in a relationship, that more experienced, more dominant partner can react by doubling down and becoming controlling. Yeah. And I'll be really interested to see. I don't think that's where he will end up. It would not have spent so much time building him up as a character and investing us in this relationship just for him to become this horrible, controlling villain that she needs to escape from.
Yeah.
But the question is, will he double down before figuring out, no, I need to move this in a more healthy direction?
Yeah, I would not be surprised if we dodge that bullet. I would not be surprised if we see that for an entire few episodes of Elias, the controlling Elias arc. I would not be surprised at all if that comes up.
Part of me kind of wants that because, frankly, I like the idea of, the relationship is getting better, but at some point it's gonna. Yeah, they're gonna find an equilibrium, and I don't know how.
It's not dramatically satisfying if they just get better and better and better and better and better. The dramatic arc is they get better for a while, and then there's that conflict.
Yeah.
That they have to then overcome.
Mostly because Elias himself is a child in a lot of ways. And I liked the physical representation of that we see. When she says, "Make yourself smaller like a human," he goes real tiny.
Yeah.
And I think that says something to his psyche too. If I were a small version of me, or like a human, what would that look like? And he makes himself into a freaking kid.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of visual symbolism there that I like. And if I want to see him grow into being a good partner. But man, I know a lot of people. I'm still trying to be a better partner to my husband all the time, and it's tough. I've been married to him for years now, and it is still tough to be a good partner because there's always a push and pull. So I love to see more conflict with them in their relationship. But yeah, I really hope it doesn't get contrived or too uncomfortable, because I feel like the show could very easily do that.
I could easily do that, but I have faith in what we've seen so far and how it did handle going from the transition from slavery subtext to full on, okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
I think this show has the gloves on to handle the issues it's talking about.
Also, Renfred, back in the mix, which, good. I like Renfred as a character. I like the idea that he keeps coming back on occasion.
And initially he was this threat.
Yeah.
And now that seems to have pretty well flipped. Like what he says over the bird phone is, you are going to ruin her if you continue to do nothing more than let her live with you.
Yeah.
And yeah, at first it was, I don't even know how to describe it, but by this point it's pretty clear, like he is not just against Chisei living with Elias, but he wants to make sure that he is treating her right. Mm-hmm. And if he does not treat her right, then he wants to do something about that.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have his mind made up, which I like. He's here like, hey, are you doing right by her? Are you though?
And I appreciate that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and it also means that the whole, like the first couple of times we saw sorcerers, it was straight up, nah, sorcerers are dicks, yo.
Yeah.
And I like seeing a more nuanced side to that, where yeah, lots of sorcerers really seem to be dicks, but Renfred seems to have his heart in the right place.
Yeah, it's the only person so far in the narrative that can hold Elias to some accountability. Like that's so far the only person we can see that can do that.
Yeah, and that's. So it's going to be kind of curious to move forward. Like, I don't even know what's going to happen next episode, and that's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
I think it would be, I hope we get Titania back at some point.
Oh, Titania?
Oh, man, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be cool to see her and Oberon.
Is it
That'd
Titania
be cool.
or Titania?
I think it's closer to Titania. I think it might be tight. I don't
They
know.
say Titania in the dub.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say it's Titania.
Yeah. Regardless, them fairy peoples, because I feel like Elias is kind of getting it from all sides, because Renfred is there representing the human side. Mm-hmm. You know, this scientific-minded, that's what the sorcerers are.
Yeah.
And then Titania is coming at it from the other side, but saying, like, largely the same thing. Like, hey, you treating her right? You're doing right by her? What are you doing there, buddy?
Yeah. And the show always has something, every single episode does something unique. Like, I had no idea we were going to get not only this flashback, like, because you see it in the opening, so I knew at some point we were going to see, like, Babby Elias, so I'm glad we had to see that now, but just seeing this come up with really just the subtext to text flip that you mentioned, I'm so happy that's come up here. Who knows where it's going to go, but I'm excited to see where it goes from here.
Also, the animation of him walking through the snow. It's like a small scene, but it's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Man, when this show wants to be pretty, it gets super damn pretty.
Yeah. Just the way the shots are, too. God, the backgrounds are so good.
Oh, and the little Silky.
Introduced last episode very quickly. That's the messenger from the land of the dragons, a Selkie, which, for those who don't know in folklore, basically a were-seal.
Yeah, basically, yes.
But not scary like a werewolf typically. It is a person who can put on, a human who can put on a seal skin and become a seal and swim through the ocean.
Which is actually the name from My Hero Academia of the anthropomorphic seal dude.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I thought that was cute.
Yeah, but typically not actually a human that can turn into a seal, but the other way around, a seal creature that can turn into a human when they want to. And yeah, just the most adorable little... It reminded me of May from Overwatch. Little like,
oh yeah,
yeah,
like little girl all bundled up in this big hood with these big seal paws. Like, yeah,
it's adorable.
Yeah, and we get to see the dragon again.
Yeah, seeing the dragon was so cute.
Look, even more like the Blue Eyes White Dragon.
I was gonna, that's all I could think. I was like, oh boy, it's Blue Eyes White Dragon's little brother.
Yeah. So many. I love all the little fairy creatures that we don't often give a whole lot of time to because they don't typically do too much. They're just there to flesh out the world and remind you that there's all kinds of shit just off camera that's probably just as interesting.
Yeah, it really helps carry the setting. This is what keeps me engrossed in this show. Is I don't need to get invested myself because some shows you have to insert yourself and really engage with it. Yeah. This one pulls you in hard.
Yeah, world building is best served as both a background and integral part to a story. Nothing should feel pointless. That's if you were trying to world build, make it a point of either the message or the plot. Because if you don't, then it's just like, well, that was neat.
It feels like the best elements of Tolkien level high fantasy world building where clearly all this thought was put into the mechanics of how this shit works, but it does not stop the plot to tell you about it.
Exactly.
It's just like, hey, this shit is also here, and look how this works, because of course it does. I've already thought about it.
Yep.
It's great.
Even the scene with that succubus, or not the succubus, I forget what it's called.
The Lenon She, whatever.
Yep.
The vampire.
Yeah, the she from the previous episode
Yeah.
was integral to the message of the show.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, man.
Every little step along the journey is going to be something magical.
And again, I think the best thing that the show has going for it is that it's not afraid to go into dark places, but does not dwell in them, does not keep you there for too long. It's just like, yeah, by the way, this can be terrifying.
Yeah, I appreciate it showing the darker side of a magical reflection of our world. I don't like it when fiction, kind of what you mentioned with MMO Junkie, like, and they have a happily ever after the end. That would suck, you know.
Yeah.
They still kind of had that in that finale here, but I like this dwelling with, okay, we got this relationship, now all this rocky shit. That's why I really hope we see controlling Elias, because that's just so, of course, that's just so natural to me, like that you would see that happen.
You ever see Dark Crystal?
Oh God, years
have not.
ago.
Yeah. Rewatch Dark Crystal. If you want to see beautiful combinations, by the way, of real, like, beautiful and interesting fantasy mixed with dark, terrifying shit. Dark Crystal is an amazing film. Visually,
Didn't Henson do that?
Yeah, Jim Henson, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of, I think, the last Jim Henson films. So. Yeah, see Dark Crystal. Like, this, that just brought that thought to my mind of, if you're liking Magus Bride, check out Dark Crystal for some great comparisons of terrifying to beautiful fantasy, because it is all in that. So
That'd be cool.
yeah.
Yep. Well, that's what you can watch if you like Magus Bride, and if you like this show, you can watch more of it next week, because we'll be back for one more week, then we break for Christmas, and then we'll be back after that for the season indies.
Oh man. Man.
Oh my God, this is our first season. I have no idea what I'm gonna do. Like, I have to pick one show. God, fuck.
Yeah, we're all gonna choose which show we're gonna marry, and we've got a whole lot of. We actually still need to sit down and think of the final list of categories for our Fuck Buddy Awards.
Were we gonna do like openings and endings?
Openings
I know
and-
we talked about like that.
Yeah, we've talked about
closed
doing
doors.
openings and endings.
Yeah.
Best main character, best supporting character.
Oh man,
Yeah, I mean,
shit.
I've got a whole list of actually probably too many categories that we should probably sit down and narrow down. But
Yeah.
we'll worry about that later. Also, if y'all have been keeping up with the news on what's going to be happening next season, if you have shows that you want to see, that you want to make sure are on the poll, hit us up in the comments, because they don't announce things very far in advance.
No.
But so it's only going to be on the poll if you can watch it legally simul-dub or
Simulcast.
Yeah, simulcast in the US. That said, if there's stuff you want to see us cover, let us know, because that's why we're here. We don't know what we're going to like yet either. That's what this show's all about, is finding that out. And if there's stuff you're interested in, we want to know about it.
Of course they want us to watch this MMO Junkie garbage. It'll suck ass.
Yeah, dude. And that's what, and as I look, because I've got a presumptive list already made up, no way of knowing which ones are going to be simulcast yet, so half of it will probably not be on the poll. But as I look at it, every show, I remind myself, yeah, this looks like shit, but I never would have. MMO Junkie, man.
I
Totally
never would have
came
watched
out of
that.
left field, so it's worth giving a lot of these things a chance.
I'm kind of curious. I do know. I remember Stefan was like, "I voted for this show because I want you to suffer," and I'm like, "How many people do you think voted for MMO Junkie, thinking, man, that sounds like garbage. I can't wait for them to suffer through this."
Yeah.
And then
Joke's on you.
Man, it is gonna be. You're not wrong though. It's gonna be so. I'm glad, by the way, because I thought at the beginning of the season, going into it, I'm like, well, looks like Inuyashiki is the one I'm gonna marry. Now I'm not sure. Now there's a lot of things up in the air for me.
Yeah,
So,
I won't tip my hand, but there's a lot of shit.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can't tip my hand because I don't know yet, because only, obviously.
Yeah, I haven't seen the ending for
Yeah.
it and all this other shit.
Yeah, obviously there are some clear front runners, but Inuyashiki's got an ending,
Yeah.
and then Magus Bride is not going to end this season, so how do you even? I don't know, but we're gonna figure it
Yeah.
out in the next 3 weeks.
we have to.
Yep.
For the fate of the world.
We'll see you guys next time.
See you around.